Welcome back to Higurashi Storytime with me, your host, Dylan. I don't know where I'm going with this intro, but that's because that's basically what this whole series is, and seeing how much I mess up. So anyway, let's continue. The van stopped in the shrine's parking lot. Also parked there were numerous other vans with loudspeakers mounted on top of them to act as makeshift propaganda vehicles. On the side of each vehicle was scrawled, "The dam project must be demolished. Defend our homeland to the last. No Oyashiro-sama's anger." Or a slogan of a similar kind that gave the feeling that even without using the loudspeakers, there was enough to overwhelm any onlookers. Particle banners were erected in various places. The contents of those banners were similar. They were all objections against the dam or crude insults towards the government. There were horizontal banners, placards, and so on and so forth. They proclaimed that without a doubt this was the headquarters of the Onogafuchi Defense Alliance. For RIKA, however, this hectic place was also her home. "You've arrived. I'm home." RIKA crawled over my lap and exited the vehicle first. Makino had noticed that I was looking at protest banners. The shrine also has the offices of the anti-dam movement. For you, this probably brings back memories of the anti-security tree conflict back in the day. Student movements against government policies, movements that border on terrorist activities, were at one time commonplace, if only in order to garner global attention. Students holding out in lecture halls, brawling with the riot squads that charged in. It was an age where wasting one's youth like that was widely considered a road to glory. It was slightly before my time. I'm not really an activist or anything. Studied without incident and graduated without incident. I don't really agree with the violence or occupations they use to protest the government's policies. Oh, you have quite the nice opinion there. If you have an opinion on a policy, vote for the candidate who shares your view, or enter the political world yourself and assert your beliefs in a lawful manner. That is the foundation of democracy. I don't think that's something you should challenge with violence. For a young'un, you have some fine beliefs. I saw that feeling of respect reflected in Makino's gaze. That moment something tugged at my sleeve. I have no idea what Akasaka is saying. RIKA, feeling like she was the only one who didn't understand the conversation, with a look of displeasure on her face. The expression was so charming I had to keep myself from grinning like an idiot. It is often said that a father wants to spoil his daughter rotten. I think I understood that feeling very well. Sorry. It was a little bit hard for RIKA to understand, wasn't it? Japan is a peaceful country, so you have to argue your point in a peaceful manner. You shouldn't resort to violence, in other words. No matter how much I explained, a girl who was just boasting about being able to carry 4 digits over when adding things probably wouldn't understand. It probably wasn't something to talk about in front of RIKA anyway. So then, Akasaka, how do you think we should keep our village from being flooded by the dam? Even if I regretted my careless words, it was too late now. Here I was at the main headquarters of an organization telling them their way of doing things was illegal. Preaching that violence was not the answer. A complicated feeling had mixed itself in with the respect in Makino's gaze. It was then I finally realized. It wasn't that simple. There wasn't a soul who would argue that what I was saying wasn't correct. Using violence to get one's way was something that everybody knew you shouldn't be proud of. However, right now, Hinamizawa was in a predicament that couldn't be overcome with peaceful means alone. The legality of the Hinamizawa Dam project, though through the efforts of the various propaganda campaigns enacted by the Onogafuchi Defense Alliance, was being called into question. If they further strengthened their campaign, they might be able to suspend or change the construction plans. But that was at the most just a possibility. If the government proceeded with the construction as planned, it wouldn't be long before this place was at the bottom of a lake. If it wasn't for the unrestrained resistance of the residents of Hinamizawa, this place might already have been underwater. You can't live anywhere else other than here. You can't live in the city. The words of this remarkably young girl were all too accurate, carrying with them the screams of the hearts and minds of the residents of Hinamizawa. Of course, there was nothing I could say to respond to that. I could only respond to Makino and Rika-chan's happy words with silence. I'm sorry. This isn't a problem that an outsider should lightly just poke their nose into, is it? I apologize. Makino, unsure of how to reply for a while, could only laugh pointlessly. It's something that concerns guests that make their home somewhere else. If you enjoyed here, please tell all your friends that Hinamizawa is a wonderful place, please. Before it spreads to dozens, maybe even hundreds of people. And that ridiculous plan to submerge this place at the foot of a dam would eventually fall apart. He followed that with a smile that said, "Please don't think much of it. Makino letting me not worry that much. Makino letting me not worry that much really was a stroke of good fortune. Being infatuated with the idea of making friends with a little girl had made me completely forget my apprehension at being in enemy territory. Being reminded of this right before I was going to step foot into their headquarters might have been a good thing. If we'd had this exchange in the middle of their office, if there was a short-tempered youth in there, they might have come at me. Thinking of how extreme they were, in the worst case, my life could have been in danger. It seemed that I looked quite despondent at that moment. Makino, thinking he had said something wrong, became flustered, trying to think of a way to improve my mood. I was a bit careless just now. I'm very sorry. No, don't worry about that much. Don't worry that much about it. Jesus, that sentence. The sights you showed me around the village were all beautiful, wonderful places. I really do want to come here one more time. If this beautiful village is going to be submerged at the bottom of the lake, I can understand why you would fight so desperately. I had somehow managed to use my despondent look to change the topic in my favor. After a bit, Makino had returned to his usual high spirits. It seemed he believed I completely sympathized with his point of view. Now, let's leave the talk at that for now. There's a place around here with a really great view. Let's go, Agasaka. Rika-chan, seemingly happy to be free from all the boring and gloomy adult talk, bounded up the stone steps. There was no real need to run, but in order to catch up with her, I also darted up the steps. There were several tents belonging to the town council erected on the shrine grounds. Inside the tents were several folding tables and chairs, and a number of the older town council members were livening things up with chit-chat. They weren't saying anything incendiary, like the dam project must be destroyed. It was just some relaxed, idle chat between local geezers, and almost sort of calming scenery. The entrance of a shed that looked like a meeting place, there was a large sign erected with Unagafuchi Defense Alliance headquarters written in bold brushstrokes. That was their base of operations. To be honest, it was a bit of a letdown. If you asked what I had been imagining, this is a bit embarrassing, but I thought it would have been something much more dramatic. Barbed wire fences and barricades. My first impression of the place, though, was completely different from that. It looked like a simple backwater town hall. It didn't look like anything other than exactly that. The old folks who were chatting had noticed Rika-chan's presence. "Oh, isn't it Rika-chama? It's time for little kids to head on home." "This is my home." The old folks guffawed since she wasn't wrong. I don't know if that's supposed to be there or was supposed to be a typo. From that exchange, I could tell that this Rika Furuta girl was loved by everybody. "Makino-san, who's that?" "Towards who phoned." "That's right. This is the mayor of Hinamizawa, Mayor Kimiyoshi." He smiled brightly, but there was no mistaking he would be scary if he got angry. By the looks of things, this old man was a president of the Unagafuchi Defense Alliance, none other than Kiichiro Kimiyoshi himself. Jesus Christ. "Welcome to Hinamizawa. What do you think?" It's a quiet and relaxing place, isn't it?" "Yeah. I was able to appreciate a multitude of beautiful places throughout the whole day. I'm thankful for being granted this rare opportunity. Even though you're one of those youngins, you're quite the gentleman. Ichiro, I want to show Akasaka a cool place. Thinking that the formalities between myself and the mayor had gone on for too long, Rika-chan butted into the conversation. For her to call the mayor by his first name, I felt it was a little strange, but none of the villagers seemed to mind. The girl of the Furude household, one of the three families. She was probably different than the average villager. Akasaka, over here. Rika-chan tugged at my sleeve. Not resisting, I allowed myself to be pulled over, and waiting for me was a magnificent view. This is amazing. It was an observation deck that looked down on the village. They, knowing that this was the best view in the entire village, kept quiet as I stood there awestruck. I was holding a camera, but had completely forgotten to even glance through the viewfinder. This view, no matter what kind of film it was printed on, it wouldn't be able to show everything. If there was a way to explain it, it would only be what I would be able to put into words. It was just such a breathtaking, spectacular view that I struggled to find a comparison. For a while I was left awestruck. I could only stand there and wonder. A cool breeze helped abate the heat rushing through my body. That comfortable sensation also left me speechless. Rika-chan, who had been holding onto my sleeve the entire time, spoke. This is my favorite spot. As she said that, she showed me another adorable smile. The smile seemed very fleeting. If you ask why, that was because the view from our favorite spot would eventually be submerged under the deep green waters of the dam reservoir. I just can't believe that this village is going to end up at the bottom of a lake. I said it quietly so that only Rika-chan could hear it. I regretted it as soon as I did, for those words were all too cruel. However, Rika-chan didn't let them cast a cloud on her expression. In fact, she replied with a smile. It won't sink. The dam project will definitely go away. It was just a little girl. It was just like a little girl to say something like that. There was no basis for her saying so. It was just her wish. Kasaka, do you think that this village would be submerged? It's not that I want it to be. I know how important the dam was. I knew that it was necessary. I just didn't want to recognize the sacrifices that would be made. I agree with the project in general, but couldn't agree with some of the details. But if it meant that this girl's beloved scenery wouldn't be taken away from her, I might be able to object to the dam. I'd be able to ignore the interests of the nation, the development of Japan, all for the sake of one girl's smile. I'm not really much of a humanist, but how sentimental of me. It won't be submerged because the dam project will soon go away. Her words weren't just hopes and dreams, but were seasoned with a hint of resolve, as if she was talking about an unchangeably predetermined outcome, because it is a predetermined outcome that will always happen. As shortly as the sun rising in the east, it'll be gone soon. Wanting to ask her why she believed that, I turned around. Yes, it'll be gone. What makes you say that? Well, you see, seemed to want to answer, but as though unable to find the right words, she swallowed back what she was about to say. Regardless of what Akasaka does, the dam project will end this year. It's already been decided. That was a lie. If something like that had already been decided, then the Onagafuchi defense alliance would have no reason to continue existing. From my point of view, it was like they were doing nothing more than throwing themselves into an endless battle. If they knew the dam project was cancelled, it would feel much more relaxed around here. This village, though, could hardly be called relaxed. For evidence of that, I just had to remember how charged the atmosphere was at the checkpoint, or at the bus stop. The villagers, with their misplaced resolve, were still fighting, and this girl, even knowing the villagers' grim resolve, had already declared their victory. The villagers throwing themselves into this endless war, and the optimistic girl who said they had already won. The contrast was somehow strange. Why do you think that? If you know something that makes you that confident, could you tell me? Rika-chan stayed silent for a while, seemingly choosing what to say. Because? She looked like she was lost on whether she should continue or not, as if she was troubled on whether it was okay for her to say it, that kind of expression. It's already been decided. There's no other way to say it. It's already been decided, huh? It really is just like a little girl to say something like that. I couldn't believe it was actually true. He was the only one saying such things with such confidence. A real mission that I had forgotten about during this fun-filled day resurfaced at the back of my mind. The kidnapping of the minister's grandson, of the owner refugee defense grounds kidnapped the minister's grandson and already succeeded in negotiating the cancellation of the dam project? Meaning she actually already know that and was just playing dumb? What was that? Was that what this girl was really telling me? Akasaka? The girl called out my name suddenly. What is it? Go back to Tokyo. Huh? I wasn't only surprised at the sudden command. Ever since I came to this village, I had never once mentioned I was from Tokyo. Well, based on my accent, she might have been able to guess where I was from. What was I getting so worked up over? It was probably the sudden and complete change in her demeanor. You should definitely go back to Tokyo right away. If not, you will woefully regret it. The girl had been holding my sleeves the entire time. She'd been tugging at my sleeve since hurriedly dragging me over to show me this wonderful view. This was the adorable Rika-chan who I spent the entire day with. There was no way she could have been replaced by the doppelganger when I wasn't looking. She had been holding onto my sleeve this entire time, but somehow this girl was someone other than Rika-chan. She looked like Rika-chan, but she wasn't. She was some girl I'd never met before. The girl had told me in a different voice that I would eventually regret coming to this village from the bottom of my heart. That would be an incredibly pathetic thing to see. So I thought I'd warn you right now. Why would I come to regret it? Stop whining. Couldn't believe that I was hearing such cold words from Rika-chan's mouth. Ooh, look at that expression. Like, compare this expression to that expression. Very different. I couldn't believe that I was hearing such cold words coming from Rika-chan's mouth. I just couldn't believe it. Was somebody impersonating her, using ventriloquism or something? Thinking that, I wanted to take a look around, but the girl's gaze had me pinned down, making me unable to move. When you tried crossing the road, when the "Don't Walk" sign was up, did your parents finish explaining why it was dangerous before pulling you back to the sidewalk? They pulled you back right away, wouldn't they? They'd pull you back before explaining why it was dangerous, wouldn't they? In other words, it's something like that. The girl I had spent time with, Rika Furude, would not speak like that. She would speak with the cuteness befitting her age, with belief childish remarks expressing her emotions honestly. But if they wouldn't speak with such pointed words, I've warned you. Don't get the wrong idea. It's not like I'm saying this because I hate you. You don't need to tell somebody who's better off dead that they're in danger. Who are you? You're not Rika-chan. Ooh. 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 Grin turn. Ooh. Creepy grin. Joy. As soon as I accused her of not being Rika-chan, she let out a strange, quiet giggle. It was a laugh not befitting a child of her age. It was like she was possessed by something. Her change was just total and complete. Was Rika-chan being attacked by some terrifying phenomena? That occult idea came to mind without any sort of hesitation. Rika-chan is acting strange. Somebody help! Thinking that I'd yelled that, I turned to where the mayor was. I immediately realized he was looking at us with a smile. That's right, to him it looked like nothing more than me and Rika-chan fooling around. I didn't notice that there was something terrifying happening to her. Akasaka is such a coward. The girl had obviously grasped that I was afraid. Noticing that and calling me a coward, she laughed again. The oof. That cackling girl approached me in a strange manner while still laughing, lost her balance, and fell flat on her face. Rika-chan fell down. If it was just a while before, I would have extended a hand to help her up without hesitation. But now extending a hand to this ominous girl who looked like Rika-chan, but wasn't, required a bit more courage than I had at the moment. Meep. The girl cried out thus. Then she squirmed upright and dusted herself off. Afterwards, she looked around restlessly as a blank expression crept across her face. You gotta be kidding me. Was she making fun of me? The way of acting, it was as though after being possessed by something, she had lost her memories of what happened. You're joking, right? Rika-chan? Meep. I don't know if Rika-chan heard me or not. She just cried out like that as if questioning herself. Hey, mister. Rika-chan too. He's ready. There's some snacks too, so please come and have some. An old lady wearing a smock was waving energetically from the entrance of the office. Hearing that there were snacks, Rika-chan's expression changed. Yay! A carefree smile. That was a familiar smile, the one that belonged to the embodiment of my ideal daughter. Any hint of the creepy girl that was just there, spouting sinister words, had vanished. Come on, Rika-chama. Wash your hands first. Aren't any manju here for dirty hands? I'll wash them real good. Eep. Rika-chan responded with vigor, running off to the washing station that was along the side of the office. She stopped halfway, turning around to call to me. If Akasaka doesn't hurry up, probably he'd eat his share of manju too. They're steaming fresh. People who don't wash their hands aren't allowed to eat any manju. No matter how you look at it, that was Rika-chan. Those words and the way she said them, no matter how you heard them, they were definitely Rika-chan's. Come on now, mister. You're the adult here, so show her how it's done. The old lady urged me to wash my hands. Without any resistance, I lined up beside Rika-chan at the wash station. Bish, bish. I stared at Rika-chan, intent on washing her hands properly, like she had probably learned at school. Beep. Did I do something wrong? Huh, but wrong, you mean how I'm washing my hands? I only got 4 gold stickers for it. I'm probably bad at washing my hands. You're not doing anything wrong. You're washing them that carefully, that's more than enough. But it's not, Akasaka. If you don't use a brush and clean out the dirt underneath your fingernails, you won't get a gold sticker. Huh? Rika-chan, you're very diligent. That's something to be proud of. I was praised by Akasaka. No matter how you looked at it, it was Rika-chan. There's no trace of that girl from before. Particularly, what was that sinister girl? Rika-chan, what was the meaning of what just happened? Just now you told me to go back to Tokyo, didn't you? Did I say that? I was at a loss for words. She didn't remember what that girl just now had said. Like I would ever believe something as occult as that could happen. Like I would ever believe that Rika-chan could be possessed by that strange girl and say those creepy things. Rika-chan, you definitely said that. Neep. Her expression told me that. Despite my saying so, she had no idea. She wasn't playing dumb, she actually didn't know. Exactly what was that just now? Just as Rika-chan had let a look of confusion creep across my face. 2 of us both looking like we had no idea what was going on must have certainly been a humorous sight to behold. When partaking of tea and snacks, I was shown a propaganda film shot by the Defense Alliance that highlighted the resistance efforts. Older folks talked passionately on how long and grueling the fight against the dam was, but they fell on deaf ears. I was transfixed at Rika-chan, who had heard these stories countless times before and was nodding off. Eventually, Rika-chan noticed I was staring at her and smiled as she rubbed her eyes. My smile was Rika-chan's after all. There was no hint of that sinister shadow. After that, my unreasonable fear of Rika-chan lessened with the passing of time. But I could by no means forget what had happened. It eventually grew dark. The mayor said that they had prepared dinner, but he said I would come again tomorrow. I took my leave. I had to return to the hotel and file my regular report with the section chief. I see. Well then, please come again tomorrow. If you phone, we'll send somebody to pick you up right away. I appreciate your hospitality. I'll probably come again and enjoy myself tomorrow. Yes, please do. It seems that Rika-chan has taken a pretty big liking to you. Akasaka, are you coming again tomorrow? I finish at the 5th period, so if you would come at around 3 o'clock, that would make me happy. Please come again. The pure smile urged me to do so. There was not a trace of that evil aura Depending on what had happened next, all that might end up as nothing more other than my hallucination. Is that English? I don't know. Thinking about it logically, if the daughter of the Furude household, one of the three families, had taken a liking to me, then this was a strong foothold for my investigation from here on out. It was like a free ticket for a reason to visit Hinozo. If only I could treat that little incident as a figment of my imagination. Then having this girl who, as the embodiment of my ideal daughter, grow so attached to me wasn't bad either. I had successfully dove into the belly of the Onikafuchi Defense Alliance. I had the mayor, as well as other important members of the alliance, welcome me with open arms. This was a great turn of events. However, I still felt uneasy. Getting back to the hotel, I forced down an almost painfully cold beer until I could clear my mind. The shock from that incomprehensible, strange incident continued to torment me. At the end of this second subchapter now? Yes, it is. It's the end of the second subchapter. Yes. Okay, yes. A bunch of these. The terrifying shrine girl. Is that what the manju looked like? I'm assuming? Okay, so yeah. As I have said before, let me go back to this. Hi. As I said before, I'm not doing the tips on camera. I'm going to do them by myself after I finish the game because, like I said before, there's an achievement when you do all the tips. So it's a free easy. All of the achievements with these games are always easy. So there you go. There was part 4. Yeah, part 4 of Higurashi chapter 4. So, and that was the end of the sub chapter 2 of chapter 4. I still don't like how confusing these games are. When Echo actually did it a lot better, calling different things episodes. If you enjoyed, subscribe and hit that bell to be notified of all future videos. If you got to this part of the video, comment meep. Check out some of the other videos I have here. I don't know what videos are there, but check them out. Unless one of them is probably like part 3. But anyway, hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.